2015, when the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, were introduced, one of the main targets was to strengthen the bridge between business and the goals through the private sector. The global goals advocate that companies implement environmentally friendly strategies by integrating social and environmental responsibilities into their core activities. Today, the private sector's role in achieving the SDGs by 2030 is more crucial. Companies like Coca-Cola have, over the years, developed programs and initiatives that indicate that sustainable development is part of their core mandate, and they place premium in making these goals a reality. This informs our focus on the program tonight. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am your carrier, Clinton. Joining me to talk on the role of the private sector in sustainable development is Nwamaka Onyemelukwe. She's the Director, Public Affairs, Communications and Sustainability for Coca-Cola Nigeria Limited. She's responsible for enabling sustainable business growth by building a strong and consistent public policy and sustainable agenda for the Coca-Cola business in Nigeria. Nwamaka, you're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you.
Well, I will start with the, just like introduction, we talked about the Sustainable Development Goals, of course, which was introduced in 2015 and came into force in January 1, 2016, by the world leaders in the United Nations Summit. Now, if you look at the 17 goals, they are interconnected, ranging from no poverty, zero hunger, good health, well-being, and the list goes on. Now, how can business contribute to accelerating progress on the SDGs?
Thank you so much. Using Africa as an example, you recognize the fact that governments are saddled with so many things. And that is why the private sector have to play an integral part to support the government to actualizing those goals. And we are a company that is over 137 years old. We've been over 90 years in Africa and 73 years in Nigeria. That leaves us with a lot of experience. We're a grassroots business. We operate in communities. We pay attention to the communities where we play. And we hear firsthand and also see areas of intervention that would help to actualize the SDG goals, and so many businesses from the private sector as well. And that is why it's important that even as we build the businesses in these communities, both private sector, they have to contribute to ensure that the immediate communities where they do business is equally improved, so that partnership with government, those SDGs can actually be accelerated. So you can agree with me that Nigeria, for example, going by the statistics, we have over 130 million Nigerians still living with multidimensional poverty. And that definitely is not acceptable. And that is why companies like ours have contributed over the great deal to ensure that we help uplift Nigerians from that.
Okay, talking about your contribution, you said for over 73 years.
73 years
in Nigeria.
Yes.
Wow, that's a long time. Now, what is Coca-Cola doing exactly to help achieve these SDGs?
Yeah, like you will see, we have 17 goals. Of course, number one is no
poverty.
No poverty. And really, if every other aspect, if you actually link it, definitely everything that we do has to ensure that there is no poverty. So there are different areas for a company that we have intervened in over the years. SDG 3 is an integral part, which is good health and well-being, gender equality, water and sanitation, and another part that we play is also in climate action. So usually every company has a core focus. And for us, let's take the SDG 3 for example. So this is one of the SDGs intervention that really has no correlation with our business. So when we are part of the private sector advisory group to the president on SDGs, and then what we understood was the SDG 3 was quite top priority for the government at the time. And we did a needs assessment across different tertiary institutions in Nigeria, and they were actually in a very bad state. So one thing is that we actually had contributed in partnership with an international NGO known as MedShare to uplift the maternal and neonatal centers of over 15 tertiary institutions across the country. And today, life-saving equipment were delivered to those hospitals, training of the end users, over 300 biomedical technicians were also upskilled, because we also noticed that most of the medical equipment were lying at the corridors of these hospitals. Because one thing is to actually give people an equipment, another thing is to ensure that they understand the sustainability, so that when they break down, there's maximum uptime, they are able to actually address them. So today, over 300 mothers, 300,000 mothers have passed through this equipment, and it's still ongoing in this tertiary healthcare. What we have seen is today, of course, the data and the monitoring is still ongoing, but at least we are still tracking and in connection with these hospitals. So one thing we've understood is that the mothers, when they come into the centers, they are able to get faster care. Using National Hospital as an example, a new theater was actually delivered for them with all the life-saving equipment. And the testimonies that come out of there shows that mothers do no longer queue on the line to be able to get care, because they are referral centers. So this is just one of the examples. And of course, when you think about water is very essential to life. Sometimes we argue, we don't even know that there are some communities that they don't have water. And that also reduces access to a girl child being in school, because every morning she has to go to the river to be able to fetch water. Most times they don't go to school. And of course, the families as well do not have, if they don't have water, what you see is also all kinds of non-communicable diseases. So over the years, we've actually, this is a core area of intervention where we've provided, in partnership with so many organizations, to uplift many communities to make sure that they have access to water.
Okay.
And and the last one, it's in the area of women, because what we have also learned is that women are integral to the society. And if you empower a woman, they have the opportunity to multiply whatever you give to them. So over 500,000 women, Nigerian women, have benefited under our 5x20 program. And today, they are economic multipliers, they are home builders, nation builders, and they've ensured that their families are lifted out of poverty. So I'll stop there for now.
Oh, okay. All right, you're talking about the government. You just mentioned that you are part of the advisory committee on SDGs. Now, the present administration rolled out 8-point priority areas, which is, of course, is in alignment with the SDG goals. Now, and recently we had the rolling out of the palliatives for, to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. Now, and you see the palliative, when you look at it, is also in line with the SDG goals, talking about ending poverty, which of course is part of the number one of the, SDG goals. Now, what is Coca-Cola doing to ensure that government achieves this goal of cushioning the effect of fuel subsidy removal and alleviating poverty?
Thank you so much. For the issue of palliatives, definitely in their situations like what we are in, it's definitely a way of intervention to ensure that more people are lifted out of poverty. But you will agree that they are temporary measures. So yes, Coca-Cola is contributing its own part to ensure. So we have a large supply chain. So we've learned there's hardly any community you go to. If there's something you must find there, you'll find a bottle of Coca-Cola. And that's what we pride ourselves to say, that the mastery we have inculcated into our business can also help governments with making sure that some of these supplies get to the last mile. So we've done it in essential medicines. We've done it with vaccine distribution in partnership with the Melinda Gates Foundation. We also have a robust way of cold chain maintenance. We have a lot of coolers in trade. So if you go to any shop, you will always see a Coca-Cola cold chain equipment. That same expertise we've actually rendered to the primary healthcare system so that vaccines are delivered to the last mile and ensure that they are kept cold so that they are not denatured. So this is the kind of support we are rendering. We're always committed to working with government to ensure that at least a robust logistic chain can help to deliver this palliative up to the last mile. Okay. That's on one hand. And of course, our beverages, we are always willing to, of course, to provide our beverages alongside to make sure that these things happen. But on a more sustainable way, we are also working we truly align with the SDGs of this current government. 1 million jobs need to be created. And I can tell you that today, over 200,000 students, different universities, we are working with different NGOs in digital economy to actually empower over 200,000 youths in the area of digital learning. Because this is one sure way we have learned that we need to be a hub for the world. We have a lot of youths that are not engaged. So if they are able to upskill themselves digitally, they can actually provide service all over the world from Nigeria, and they earn FDI from that. And that is an area of focus, is in line with the government's SDG agenda, and we are already rolling out these programs to ensure that more and more youths get engaged and able to earn a decent living.
Okay, now let's come to like the materials you use. Talking about the virgin plastics that you produce. Coca-Cola is one of the highest producers of virgin plastic. How are you helping to reduce toxicity in the environment, caused by the use of these plastics?
Great question, really. I just wanted to also correct the notion that we are not the highest producer.
One of the highest.
Okay, so what do you mean I recognize this? We are users. We don't produce the virgin plastic. Someone else does the production. So what we do is that it's a raw material, or it's a packaging material that we buy from the producers to bottle our beverages. So we are one of the highest users.
Okay.
Now, in 2018, we made an open commitment that we are going to enable the collection and recycling of 100%, equivalent of 100% of all the packaging material we put out there in the markets by 2030. Then, we also made an open commitment that 100% of what we use, the packaging material we use, must be 100% recyclable. In Nigeria, we have achieved, it's 2025, but today, 100% of all the packaging material we use are actually recyclable. You see the board move from Sprites, which used to be green, into a clear bottle. That was simply responding to the issue that color plastic are very difficult to recycle. And that's why we removed our iconic green color of Sprites to make it clear, so that the bottles can actually go to recycling plants and be very much recycled. Now, from 2018, this ambition is in the public domain, and we are tracking, and we are actually holding ourselves accountable to make sure that we are aligned with the 2030 goal. So if you look around in Nigeria before 2018, you will notice that a lot of these bottles were in the environment and they're not being collected. Today, yes, significant portion still remains in the environment, but it's a huge space in terms of an emerging job, where you see a lot of people, if you're paying attention now, you see a lot of people actually doing one form of collections and they're earning a living from there. Is it in the desired state? No. But as far back as 2005, the first recycling plant in Nigeria, set up in Lagos, was 1.6 million investment of the Coca-Cola company. Today, they are still recycling plastic to fiber. We've worked with SON. We've set aside also an industry coalition. So one thing is clear, is that the SDG goals can't be achieved in isolation. Both the private sector, the government has to come together. So we championed the coming together, a coalition of all the beverage producers and even food companies. Because today the plastic cut across not just beverages, pharmaceuticals, you see cosmetics, everybody, food companies use one form of packaging or the other. So today we have what we call the Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance, which was a coalition that was set up by Coca-Cola. We have over 30 members that have come together to put resources together to finance or probably provide some of grants of subsidy to people within this ecosystem, and then work with government to set up standard. So this has given birth to 2 recycling companies in Nigeria who are needing the feedstock, because if there was no user, then if you collect them, there's nobody to recycle them. So we have a two full food grade recycling plants in Nigeria. We've enabled over 30 businesses by providing one form of collection equipment or conversion equipment, so that when the plastic are collected, they can be compressed, what we call baling, so that logistics can reduce, so that they can transfer it to the recycling companies. So it's a journey, and I can tell you that Coca-Cola has invested over $5 million in the last 2-3 years within this ecosystem. And then, of course, we have also committed that 50% of our recycling will no longer be virgin by 2030. So we have to use recycled contents to make sure that we produce another bottle. So these are some of the things that we're doing in this space. And of course, it's a very tough journey. One critical aspect also is on behavioral change and education. So if you look at every Coke bottle today, you will see, please recycle me.
I have to stop you here. Because I know you go on and on. But let's pause here and listen to what Nigerians are saying about the role of the private sector in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, as put together by Hamidu Ibrahim. Don't go away.
They should also look at diverting or diversifying into these aspects of maybe setting up a recycling plants, and recycling plant will also create employment, will take a lot of guys out of the street. And recycling plant is better than when you pick up, like they say, let's clean up the environment and we pack this plastic bottle from one location to another location. I think it still affects the environment to some extent. But if we have these plants, maybe 3, 4, 5 in some good locations, these bottles will turn to something useful again.
Every shop or every line can have at least a waste bin. Yes, it will go a long way to help.
But what I know, the plastic, we have the people where they are calling them is boiler people. Immediately when you throw away the plastic, they will pick it and they will go hide it and sell it to other. I didn't know where they are selling it, but what I know. But our problem in Abuja here is takeaway and waterproof.
As they throw it away, they're not supposed to use that for anything. No matter how they wash it, they cannot wash it well.
A place where they can be trashing those things out in strategic areas, like business places, like complex, or maybe motor park, busy areas. Those are the places I think that there should be a bin where they trash all those things for those people that are meant to do that, which is environmental, known by environmental, to come and trash the main place they're supposed to be.
Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we're looking at the role of the private sector in sustainable development. And my guest is still here with me. Nwamaka Onyemelukwe is still here with me. So you have the reaction of the people there. Some persons really don't understand what recycling is. They feel recycling is when you get the bottle, you wash them, you sell to other people. And so is there a way you encourage people? Because I know these from waste to wealth. It's recycling is very lucrative. Is there any way you encourage people, to go into this recycling and doing it the right way, not just doing it the shabby way some of my respondents said there?
Definitely. So this is an area that requires a lot of efforts. I would say that the journey has begun, but definitely from the feedback we've seen, you see that people don't also understand when you say recycle me. Like we have our brands We're using our brands to communicate, but it's not enough. So the issue of also providing public infrastructure like the waste bin, segregated bins, so that people can also understand that they need to trash it differently. And most importantly, incentives. So there is no jobs today. People are talking about in terms of the economic, if every household understand that they can make an extra revenue from recycling the bottle, like dropping it off in a recycling center and getting a voucher that probably gives them access to the supermarkets or even a ticket for a bus ride for some modern cities like Lagos, then we believe that people will begin to do it differently. So this is one area that we're going to work on, and I believe that maybe by the next time I'm coming here, we'll see a lot of progress in that area.
Okay, let me go back now to the Renewed Hope agenda. You know, one of the Renewed Hope agenda, I think the number 6 priority area was to, develop or improve the playing field for all companies to operate. Now, you've been in Nigeria for 73 years. Now, what areas would you say attention should be paid as a matter of urgency to ensure that there is an improved playing ground for companies to operate in the country?
I think the very first, it's handling the issue of multiple layered of taxation. So I speak from the manufacturing perspective now. Our partner, Nigerian Bottling Company, it's a manufacturer, and I can tell you that from the local government to the states, even when our trucks transit from one state to the other, the level of tickets that and multiple layers of payments that happen is quite problematic. In fact, at the last count, we got over 53. So this is overburdening the manufacturing sector. And we believe that if there is harmonization in the way the taxes are being collected, because some of them are even non-receipted, but you just have to do it because your trucks are being impounded most times, third-party led, because most of the logistics are done by third-party, but it also affects the business. So this is one area. And then, of course, another critical angle is the issue of security. So over the last 2 years, I can't tell you the number of adoptions that we have to handle and deal with in terms of when goods are moving. And it actually affects business and doesn't allow the movement of goods and economic development in the way and manner that we would have loved to see. So these are the two critical areas. I would just leave it at that. A lot of them is there, but if we can handle the issue of logistics overburdening or in terms of multiple taxations across all boards, and then of course on the issue of security, definitely is going to help, because the security aspect also. I know Chi is a new acquisition of the Coca-Cola business. We, at the time when CBN was talking about backward integration of milk production, we had set up some local farms in terms of dairy development. Today, most of the cattle rustling, a whole lot of those farms are actually gone, and this actually hampers on accelerating, whether it's backward integration, local sourcing, especially for multinationals.
So Chiamaka, in going through your biography, just your brief biography about you, I saw that you've actually received several awards for your work in the sustainable development there. So what can you tell other companies on developing a blueprint to help achieve the SDGs in Nigeria?
So my advice really is that for every business have whether a positive or negative externalities, meaning that you must actually pay attention in terms of auditing your business to actually understand the impact it has on the environment, and definitely be proactive in managing them, because at the end of the day, believe me, sustainability is not an extra cost. It is actually cost saving on the long run, and it helps to improve business. It also helps to improve the society, and at the end of the day, we need healthy people to be able to consume whatever product you have.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Chiamaka. On that note, we end it for today on Nigeria Today, but we must thank Nwamaka Achunike Onyemelu, Director Public Affairs, Communications and Sustainability for Coca-Cola Nigeria Limited. Thank you so much for your contribution and your time.
Thank you.
And to my viewer, thank you so much for always being a part of this. Don't forget, Nigeria Today weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Ikaria Clinton. Do have a beautiful weekend.